Today we are making spelt bread, and I love spelt bread because y'all, it is an ancient grain and it is going to be really great. Not only does it taste delicious, it's got like a nutty flavor to it, but if other breads like the modern wheat affect your belly and it like gives you digestive problems or makes you feel a little bit more bloated, try spelt. Now it's not gluten free, so if you truly have celiac disease, this isn't for you. But if you're gluten sensitive, try spelt, also einkorn. However, I will tell you, I've had a problem getting einkorn berries out there. So I am doing spelt right now and it is delicious. My whole family loves it. So I'm excited to show you this recipe. By the way, put your pencil down. I'm going to put the description and the link for you, the recipe. So just enjoy, watch the bread making process, and let's get to it. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do 2 cups of water. Make sure it's filtered. If it's not filtered, it may have some chlorine or chemicals in there, and that can affect the yeast. By the way, you want it to be room temperature or 110 degrees. And so what I do is I pop in the microwave for 30 seconds. It hits it every time. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we've got 2 cups of flour. So y'all, I've got the Wonder Mill. I already milled up my spelt berries. And so I'm going to go ahead and let me get my famous little lime tool here. I use this little lime tool for so many things. Let me get in 2 cups. And what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of like, it's not like an authentic autolyse fermentalise, but it's like something like that. Okay. So I've just got my own little method and it works. And so I'm just teaching y'all exactly how I do it. And this creates a perfect loaf every time. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add in my yeast. So I'm using active yeast today. So I'm going to do 2 teaspoons. Now, let me tell you a little fun story. So as I put this back in the refrigerator, I like to keep my yeast in the fridge. So with every single recipe that I share with y'all, I'm going to go ahead and put in 1 egg. With the recipes that I share with y'all, and I'm going to dump in the sink, so I'm going to talk off camera. I test them all out like several times, more than several times, like lots of different batches, right? And so what I did, I'm going to pour in my honey and my oil next. By the way, for this recipe, you can go 2 different ways. For today, I'm using 1/3 of a cup of honey and 1/3 of a cup of oil. For me, I'm using olive oil. However, if you want a sweeter bread, you could use 1/2 cup of honey and 1/2 cup of oil. That is really delicious too. So it's either way you want to go. I'll tell you why I'm doing it. Okay, y'all, I'm doing 1/3 of a cup today because I don't know whenever you're watching this video. Maybe it's around Christmas, maybe it's winter, but right now, at this time that I'm filming, it is summer and my kids are out of school and they're going to summer camp. So they're getting sugared up, okay? You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm just gonna reduce the honey right now. So that's why I did 1/3 a cup, and it's delicious. And by the way, they can't tell. Like they're like, I told them as they were leaving this morning, I go, by the way, I said, I'm gonna have a fresh loaf of the spelt bread when you come home. And they're like, yay, thank you, mommy. So like they don't even notice. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Oh yeah, I was like, uh-oh, I forgot, y'all, but I remembered. Okay, I'm gonna mix this in together: oil, honey, yeast, flour. Okay, so I'm gonna mix this in while I talk to y'all. So when I was experimenting with this recipe, I put in too much yeast in there because I was in a hurry and I was like, I need this to rise. But spelt is different from the modern wheat. The gluten structure is different. So you know what happened? The gluten structure can't hold that fast rise, that too much yeast that makes it boop, pop up. So it deflated. And then I had a big hole in my bread. So I had to experiment by getting the right amount of yeast for this spelt grain. So that was like a fun little experiment. I was like, oh, every time I create a new recipe, I always try to learn something, right? So I can get better and better, and also to help you with your questions as well, because this truly is it's a lifelong skill, and I just appreciate it so much. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna flip the camera around. Actually, I'll just grab it. I'm not gonna make it complicated. I wanted to show you how soupy this is. So I'm just letting this rest for, let's see, how long am I gonna let this rest for? I'm gonna let this rest for 15 minutes. And then so the flour can soak up some of the water. All right, do you see all the bubbles in there? That tells me that my yeast is activated, but it's still soupy. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 more cups of flour, 2 more cups of spelt flour, fresh milled. If you don't have a grain miller to do it with, because I know that there's actually problems out there of getting a grain mill because it's just they're out of stock all the time. You can buy, spelt flour that's already been ground. And I'm also adding in my salt. If you're looking for a good salt, I love this one because it's got the minerals in it. It's called Redmond's. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my spatula again and I am going to mix it. So if you've been on my channel or if you're new here, you might be like seeing people and you're like, what's the big deal about fresh milk? Like that looks like such a pain to do. And why is it is it really necessary? Well, it really is because you're getting the nutrient level is just unmatched because you got to think of the flour in the store as dead flour. This is a live flour. And so it's like picking an apple off the tree, fresh, and you're getting it right off the tree with all the nutrients versus, having it picked fresh and then gassed up and sent on the truck all the way, from one state to another. So there, it's just high in vitamin B, vitamin E, like 40 out of 44 essential vitamins and minerals that you need. Like it's really, y'all, this is a superfood. That's why I am so passionate about sharing the fresh milled on my channel. That's why I'm so passionate about giving it to people to let them taste. And then I talk to them about how they can easily do this at home. It takes like 60 seconds to mill it up. Like you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, I am going to let this rest for another 15 minutes before I put it in my mixer to knead. So I'll see you in 15 minutes because I want it to, the reason why, let me explain why. I want the flour, because it's fresh milled, it needs time to hydrate. It needs time to soak up that water. So let's give it 15 minutes before we knead. All right, the time's up. You see how that's thickened up? By the way, I went ahead and this is the same bowl. I just put it in my mixer because we're getting ready to knead. So you can see how it's thickened up. Now, this is going to be fun for me to film one-handed, but I really wanted y'all to see the dough. So what I am going to do now, we've already got 4 cups in. So I'm going to add in another cup because obviously, if you can tell, it's still soupy. And so what I'm going to do, oops, hold on, y'all. Let me scoot it up. And then I'm going to let this mix. And I want a good consistency where it is still moist, but it's pulling from the side of the bowl because we don't want it to be soupy, but we also are trying to create we want to strengthen the gluten so that we will get a rise. And, ancient grain is, a little bit different to work from than modern, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's just, just kind of figuring out how things work. And y'all, this dough is really sticky. I tried it like 6 different ways with a pan technique. And when we're done kneading, I'm going to show you the biggest tip that is going to make this whole video like, if you just get this one tip, you're going to be like, oh, thank you, Ashley. And I'm going to say, you're welcome. All right, so that's still soupy. So let me go ahead and stop. Can you see how that's still soupy? It's not pulling from the sides. So let me add in another cup. Boop, boop. There we go. All right, and sorry with the camera, I'm just having to do this one-handed because my over the camera one isn't going to give you the view. It's going to give me the top of the mixer view, and I don't want that. All right, so this ought to do it. So I'm going to let this mix in really good and then once it's like mixed in really good, then I will start my timer of kneading. You don't want to like start, oh, okay, let me start kneading now. No, you want to make sure everything's fully incorporated. Like when I mean everything, I mean the dough is fully incorporated first. And if you want to do not what I did, which is if you want to add in, it's probably even better to add in a half a cup of flour at a time. But as I mentioned before, this is camp day. This is like first day of camp. So I'm in a bit of a hurry, which is another reason why I'm loving this spelt bread recipe because y'all, it's so easy. I mean, it is so easy. In between the breaks, I am getting laundry done. I am getting supper prep for tonight. And it's just such a yummy easy bread to make, and your kids are going to love it. Your grandkids are going to love it. You're going to love it if you don't have anybody else other than yourself. I mean, it's just like you can't lose. All right, that still is too, you see how that's still too stretchy? So let me add in a half a cup. There we go. Pull that down. And so I wanted to show you this process without speeding it up and increasing the speed and, you know, going fast through it, because this is how you're going to learn, by watching others, you know, and looking at how the dough should look. That's how I learned, y'all. I just had to be patient, and I had to like test out, you know, recipes and be like, okay, the dough is too dry or the dough is too soupy. And that's how, once you know how the dough works, that's how you start to get really good at bread making. I was just out to lunch with a bunch of ladies, and they were all talking, like as soon as they find out I make bread, you know what the number one question is? Do you make sourdough? I go, I do. And so then they talk about, oh, I love sourdough bread, you know, and I'm like, yes, I make it. And once you start making sourdough, y'all, you're just gonna, like any bread, you know, start off with, you know, bread, and then you can move to sourdough if you want to. It's just, once you get the basics down, it's less intimidating. You just got to get out there and do it. Especially if you get used to a certain type of bread that you make all the time. All right, let's see here. That looks really good. It's, you see how it's sticky, but I want this, you know, you want it to be like nice and moist. You don't want it to be too dry. I might add, you know what, this is looking good, but I'm going to add a quarter of a cup. Just a quarter of a cup. That's all I'm going to add. It's because I want it to be, there we go. Do that. And that should be good. Yeah. See, it's pulling away from the sides. It's getting all mixed in. And then here's what I do to help it out. Then what I do is I get in here and I'll like pull it down from the sides of my bowl so it can grab it from the sides. You know, I've just got like an old KitchenAid mixer that I had from, you know, when I got married a long time ago. And so I just use this. Use whatever mixer you have, or if you've got a fancy bread mixer. I think with the other ones, you don't have to do this, but again, you just use what you have. And then all right, there we go. There. Okay, so you can see how it's pulling away from the side. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to I'm going to get it down from that side, and then I'm going to start the clock. I'm going to knead this for 20 minutes, okay? And I will see you back in 20 minutes, and I'll show you what the dough looks like. This is only been 3 minutes into the kneading process, and I scraped it down all along the sides. And you can see that this is looking now like a moist ball of dough. It's like the perfect consistency. You see how it's pulling from the side, and I can tell that it's moist. Here, let me just stop it. I'm just gonna just see, it's like it's moist, but it's not like so sticky and like just like too much. It's like, it's just perfect. So I just wanted to show y'all this. The timer's still going. We have finished kneading, and now I want to, this is what it looks like. It's like soft and still moist. Ooh, I'm so excited. I'm gonna do the Windowpane test with y'all, so that way you will know that it's good and ready. All right, so I like to grab some of the dough so I can do what's called a Windowpane test. So that means that my gluten has developed enough so that it will get a good rise, and I like to stretch it until I can see light coming through. So I don't know if you can see that, but you see the light coming through? This means that it is ready for me to shape it. That's what you want to see. Okay, are you ready for the secret trick that I told you about Spelt? Because here it comes. You need parchment paper, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Y'all, that is the biggest tip you're going to see in a second. Okay, so here's our batch of dough. So this is, you're going to see why I love my little lime green plastic scraper. I'll show you the one that I got I'll just put the link in there if you want to find it. I like it because it's lime green, so it's easy to find in my drawers, you know. And I don't know, it's just a tree color, but it just really helps me like get all the extras out of the bowl. So like if I have, this is a good batch, I don't have to really scrape too much, but sometimes you will. So it's just like the curve of the handle, you're able to do that. It's just easier. And then you have this bench scraper that's stainless steel. And this is what you use to divide your dough and also to clean up the dough off your counters. It's like amazing. So I'm going to put that aside right now. And I am going to, oops, I'm just checking to make sure y'all can see it in the camera. Yes, you can. Okay, so, oh gosh, this feels so good. It's like, this is going to be so good, y'all. I'm so excited. It is soft. It is just the right consistency. It's not sticky or tacky, but it's not dry. It's just amazing. So what I like to do is called the jelly roll method. I stretch it over and I pull it towards me. And then I stretch this part over and I like do it over that way. And what we're doing, y'all, is we are building tension because we want it to hold its shape, you know, but we also want to build some, you know, strength with our gluten. So I pull it back towards me. Oops, that's my timer. I'm making some sourdough crackers. If you're interested in my sourdough crackers, I have a video for that. It was a special request from my son. He was like, can you please make me some sourdough crackers? I was like, yes. And then my daughter was like, can you please make me your homemade Cheez-Its? I'm like, sure, y'all. Let me just like bake all the bread and the crackers and the Cheez-Its, but that's what we do. Okay, because like that's what you're going to find, y'all. When you start making these recipes, people are going to love them so much and you're going to have like, you're going to have orders, okay, from your families, your friends, neighbors. You're going to start seeing, wow, people are like being so nice to me lately. It's because they want your bread and your crackers. That's why. Okay. So I do it like that. And then I like to do what's called threading the dough like that. And I do it 2 times. Pinch it up like that. And then I do it again. It's fun too. Isn't this fun? I love it. Love it. It's such a great hobby because it just helps your family out. It helps yourself out with your nutrients that you're doing. You're helping others. Like, you know, good for you and good for me for doing this. This is just so amazing. And this is what they ate back in the old days too, the ancient days. Like, isn't that cool? Like, we're eating what they ate. I love that. Every time I eat the bread, that's what I think of. Now, the reason why, let me talk about this while I'm doing the next one. The reason why that we are putting it in parchment paper is because number one, I love cast iron pans. It bakes up the bread so evenly and I oil them up really good. Like with all my bread, I do, you can do coconut oil, you can do avocado oil, olive oil, and they work so well. And they also don't have any, you know, toxic or yucky coatings or anything like that. So it's just a great investment for your pans. Okay. However, I have found that with Spelt, y'all, it didn't matter how much I greased it up, it was sticking to the pan. So, all right, I'll be with you in a second, crackers. It was sticking to the pan. And so what I did was I used parchment paper and it just slide. I mean, that's the way to go for Spelt. So if you are making Spelt bread, do yourself a favor and line your pans up with parchment paper so that you can avoid the stickiness. I did have it one time not stick, but I can't, it was like so much oil in there that I was like, okay, this is just too much. So I like the parchment paper. It's like so much better. And then I'm just gonna flip it over here. And what I do is, you see how it's like all uneven? That's okay. You just use your knuckles and you know, gently punch it down like that. Easy peasy. Now what we are doing right now, so we're shaping it and we're going to leave it on the counter and it's going to, you know what, for me, last time it took me an hour for this to rise. Now it's going to depend on your kitchen. So what you want to do is you want to cover it. Normally I do one of my shower caps, but because it's with a parchment paper, I'm covering it with a tea towel. It has been an hour in my kitchen. And just for reference, my kitchen is 73 degrees. And so they are at the top of the pan. So I'm going to go ahead and stick them in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. It has been 30 minutes. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to show y'all. Oh, these are gorgeous. They're so beautiful. I told you this would make a perfect loaf. You're going to be so, so proud of yourself. You know, every single time I pull it out of the oven, it just never gets old. It's just so fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to let them sit in the pans for 10 minutes. And I like to rub butter on them on top because it gives it a softer crust. And it just also makes it look so pretty. And also, I have found that you also, if you're using cast iron, that you want to leave them in the pan for a good 10 minutes because if you take them out of the pan, it may like crack your bread. So that's another reason. But it also just like continues to keep on cooking in here. So I will see you in 10 minutes. All right, let's take them out of the pan. And I like to put them on a tea towel. And yep, do it like that. And I will take it out. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Okay. Look at this. So when you are doing the parchment paper, look at what it did. It did an indent. Oh, I can't speak. So learn from this mistake. I wasn't paying attention and it made an indent. So when you do it, that's actually really great that it happened because it's like, that's like a huge learning lesson for us. And so let's see if it did on the other one too. Yep, because see, I had the parchment paper in. So just be careful when you do the parchment paper, like really push it out. Okay, so this is what it looks all the way around. It looks gorgeous. Look how beautifully lifted it is. It is a little distorted, but who cares? This is for my family. So I am going to wrap this up and I am going to let this completely cool. Do it on the side so that it won't smush your bread. It'll keep it nice and lifted. By the way, it smells so good. And let this sit here for a full hour to cool. To cool before we cut into it and give it a taste test. All right, Penelope, let's grab a slice. You grab your slice. Ooh, this looks so good.
This looks
all right.
so good.
Yeah, look at that.
Yes.
It's like bendy.
Looks so good.
Penelope's got her nails on, her wicked nails.
Okay. Not my wicked ones, but like.
Okay. This is a bread channel, not a nail channel. Okay. Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3.
That's good.
Y'all, you can taste the sweetness in it. That 1/3 cup of honey,
That's
you can
really
definitely taste it. It's really good. And it's soft, but it's like, you can like literally make a real sandwich with this. It's got so much, a hint of the nuttiness. You're going to love this spelt bread. I'm so excited. Recipe is in the description below, and I will see you next time.
Bye.